Hey scholars, it's good to be back with you. Today I'd like to do systems of nonlinear equations again. What I'd like to do is pick up where we left off last time and make two additions. The first is I'd like to add one dimension, so these are now 3 dimensions, so they're surfaces instead of curves. And the other thing I'd like to do is show 2 different ways in MATLAB to program this and find the solution numerically. So if we're going to do this, the first thing we have to do is get this into MATLAB format. Well, the fsolve command in MATLAB, which is what we're going to use, wants everything to be equal to 0. It wants everything to look like kind of a root finding function. So let's do a little bit of formatting here to get ready for MATLAB. So let's do this. We'll start by pushing all the symbols to one side and have 0 on the other side of the equation. So how about x plus y minus z 1 equals 0? And I'll just keep going here. Okay, there you go. Now you notice I was sitting here counting off. Well, there's no problem in pausing and making sure you've got everything written out right before you move on. Better to solve a problem now than to have to solve it later. So this is a start, but this isn't quite where we need to be. I got everything equal to 0, but I've still got everything in terms of x, y's, and z's. Now, if you remember, MATLAB loves to think in terms of lists or vectors. So we're about to write out a vector of equations that includes a vector of variables. And I'll write this out in a different color to make sure you know which one we're going to work with. All right, let's make sure that's right. X1, da-da. Oh. Okay, that's right. Now, don't be afraid to sit here and very carefully, point things out to make sure you've got it right. It's a lot easier to solve a problem now than to wait till you're looking at a bunch of MATLAB code and then find it doesn't work and then have to solve it. This is better. Better to take a few minutes now. So, wrote this out in red. Here's what it's going to look like. All I did was rename variables. X became x1, y became x2, z became x3. That's all I did. Now remember, mathematics doesn't know or care anything about what you name your variables. Mathematics just works. So this didn't change the meaning of anything. It is just there for MATLAB formatting. So with that in place, let's go over to my screen over here and let's run this 2 different ways in MATLAB.